Are we ready? Oh, I can hear my voice. My name is Leanne Mates. I'm the election spokesperson. Welcome to our fourth landmark post-elections presser. I don't have to introduce the leadership. Everybody is familiar with them. I'm just going to hand over to President, who is leading the press conference. Okay, thank you, President. We'll start off on on your far right, left, is our Treasurer General, Ompile. On our far left, or is it right for you, we have our Deputy Secretary General, Bobby. Next to the Deputy Secretary General, we have our Secretary General, Marshall, Commissioner Marshall. And then next, what's happening? Let there be love. Can everybody see now? And then we have our Deputy President, Commissioner Floyd Chavambu, and then of course we have our Commander-in-Chief, Julius Malema. President, are we ready to hand over?
Thank you very much, members of the media. We want to take this opportunity as the economic freedom fighters to thank the people of South Africa who voted for the EFF in the 2021 local government elections. We are welcoming the election results. We think that there are no perfect elections anywhere in the world. That's why at some point in America, someone was saying, stop the counting in a developed world. The small glitches and technical problems that we had experienced in our wards, in our voting stations, are to be expected during such a difficult period where you have to organize elections within a short space of time. Some of the voters did not find themselves on the voters' roll because when they were registering, they were using a different gadget which threw people all over. But we are happy that this matter was brought up, and we hope that going forward it will be fixed. We commend the Independent Electoral Commission and majority of its staff members and volunteers for a job well done. Majority of IEC staff members and volunteers were well behaved and conducted election in a dignified way. We appreciate that the IEC has introduced the voter management devices which verify the registration status of all voters and provide real-time statistics on the number of people who have casted their votes. Despite glitches in some areas, the introduction of technology must always be embraced and appreciated. It took me almost, those who were there, 45 minutes to vote, and the queue was not long because of this voter management device that they'd introduced. It kept on rebooting and rebooting, but you can't use that to pass judgment of negativity on something that we are using for the first time. But what excites us in the EFF is that at least there is an introduction of technology. In the past, the IEC was going to be telling us now, as they concluded elections, as to how many people have voted. So this conversation we're having of a lower turnout, it was going to take place properly now as they conclude counting votes, but it was able to take place much earlier were to know much earlier as to what is the turnout. And that device, if they are permitted to tell us, they can tell us, IEC people, who voted where, and the gender and the race and the age, if they so wish. They can give us all of that information. So we then begin to have a scientific debate on whether the youth is voting or not. Because as things are, we use our naked eye and general information that, hey, since I didn't see young people on the queue, they are not voting. But now we've got an equipment which is able to give us that information. And it must be welcomed because it means more other electronic means are going to be introduced going into the elections. What is more exciting is that the ANC has gone below 50%. Someone was supposed to play a Tsonga music here so I can dance for you. I'm the happiest man because when we started this mission in 2013, we said we are going to make sure that the ANC is out of power. And we did that in 2016, and the mission is continuing. So we are extremely excited. Whether it is the EFF, whether it's the DA or any other one who reduces the ANC majority to humble them, then we're happy. Because what is the strategic objective? The strategic objective is that the ruling party of thieves and gangsters that have turned against black people must get out of power. And I said this when we formed the EFF in Marikana, that the elephant is too big, but we'll eat it bit by bit. So we are more than happy with that outcome, more than happy with the outcome of the EFF, because even when major political parties are declining, the EFF stands firm and grows. And then the EFF canvasses new grounds. And the EFF has now demonstrated to many that it is not a tribalistic organization, it's not a regionalistic organization, it's a serious national organization with a national footprint. So before you compare us with anyone, you must compare us with people who are national. And we are only three, by the way, in South Africa. It's the ANC, it's the DA, it's the EFF. None of them. IFP is in KwaZulu-Natal. And we know when it was formed, it was a cultural group. It was not a political party to concentrate on Zulu culture. So it hasn't gone beyond that, its original mission. Then you can go to any other party you so wish to go to. They are all regionalistic. So do not compare us with regional parties. We are a national party with a footprint everywhere. And when you compare the three national parties, we are the only ones who are consistently growing. None of the two are growing. And someone says, we are not growing at a pace where we want. No. We are going to take for as long as it takes to grow. We are not engaged in a popcorn revolution. We are engaged in people's revolution. So when you do that, you first have to win the heart, the souls, and the minds of your people. Because we have radical policies. We don't want people who reject the ANC and come to the EFF for a purpose of a rebound. We want them to be in total love with the EFF because they appreciate and understand its policy. But if it's a rebound, it will not have longevity. Politics is longevity. It's not excitement. So this quick arrangement that people are looking for, we're not people of quick. We're people of longevity. So we are in a revolution for a very long time. and it will take whatever it takes. The ANC was formed in 1912. 1912. It only took power in 1994. After serious decades, then people fell in love with it, who grew up with it, generation after generation. So we are building something like that, an organization that will be built ground up with a very clear, solid foundation. So now, elections are over. We must all go and work for the people. There are areas that we want to make an appeal as the EFF, which do not need political differences. The issue of drinkable water, the issue of proper sanitation, dependable electricity, taking care of all disabled people, and making sure that our people have flushing toilet. In the next 5 years, we as political parties should be signing a pact that in the next 5 years, there will not be a single household in South Africa without a flushing toilet, so that the journey to restore the dignity of our people starts now. In light of the fact that there were no outright winners in different municipalities, the EFF will engage with all political parties that will approach us to talk about constituted government in different municipalities. The political parties that approach us must know that the first item on the agenda before sharing of positions will be the commitment to the people. Anyone who comes to the EFF must come with a clear agenda of land redistribution, water provision, jobs, sanitation, and care of disabled people. We are willing to listen to everyone and will take decision on coalition only when we are satisfied that they will lead to the total upliftment of our people and defeating poverty. The nature and form of how these conditions will be constituted will be discussed with different political parties and will be under the constant guidance of members of the EFF, communities where coalitions will happen, and Central Command team. We once again thank the ground forces of the EFF and all its volunteers who have fought a good fight. We are not going to do a coalition of positions. Maybe let's tell you something, that we are prepared to vote for people to go into government as long as we have an agreement with them, without taking up any position. We can say to them, we will vote for you to be in power. We don't want a position, but please, let's agree on the following immediate things. Let's take Tshwane, for instance. We can sign a coalition agreement in Tshwane with anyone who says we'll give the people of Hammanskraal water in the next 6 months. It must be implementable programs that have time frames, not some contract with no time frames. We need things that are going to be done, and they're going to be done now, and our people must see them. We don't have to be inside for you to do that. As long as you agree to do it, why not? We can vote for you. If we find no one agrees with us on anything, we're prepared to sit in our opposition benches and play our role as the opposition. We did that in the previous elections, in Tshwane and everywhere else. So we're not in a hurry for anything. The people of South Africa have voted, and their vote must be respected. We have no right to howl insult at the people of South Africa for choosing the way they chose. Nobody can impose himself or herself on the will of the people. We must accept this result and congratulate the people of South Africa for conducting peaceful elections and continuing to be exemplary in the continent of Africa. So where we are very happy with the elections. We're happy with the IEC. We're happy with our numbers, and we'll continue to work for our people. So the work starts now. We must not postpone and think that we'll see it after. The issue of turnout, it was bound to happen. Firstly, there was a huge scare that this thing is going to kill us. 1 million graves were digged here in Tshwane by the ANC, that we are going to die, they're going to bury us. And then people died, our relatives died. There is no single one of us in this room who didn't have someone close who died because of this pandemic. Then there was a debate whether we're postponing or not. Then there was that confusion. Musenege said, yes, postpone. Then the court came later, said, no, you must not postpone. That thing on its own demoralized our people. So you will be unfair and unscientific to not look at the conditions that prevailed during the elections. What conditions? So even if there was a war, you would have received a different turnout. So material condition at all material times should inform our thinking. We must not be fanatics and just howl without using science. So there was this pandemic. Now, elections, also will tell you she has been running them. They're the SABC and covering them very well. You know, you need excitement. There must be excitement. So the regulations do not allow the excitement, because it is the excitement that builds an election mood. That's why we always say there must be election mood. So what is an election mood? When your party fills up Orlando Stadium in red, and then even on the pitch, those who are at home, depending on which TV covers them, I said also if was doing it very well, she will give you a nice picture of the whole stadium, taking it this way, that way, where the excitement is and all of that. As it rolls like that, someone who's sitting at home says, hey, our party. Because there is an excitement. Someone at home feels like we want to stand up and do it now. There was no such a thing. There was no mood. What made matters worse is to compete with the incumbent that looks permanently tired. Those of you who watch boxing, there must be two parties fighting. If the other party is not fighting, the boxing match is not exciting. The man is just not exciting. It's very boring to fight against him. And it looks like you are taking an innocent person. And you feel guilty about it. So the president doesn't bring excitement in politics and makes politics boring and kills the political excitement and the mood of elections. So more than anything, those are the conditions. We tried, but alone we can't do it. Everybody must come to the party, and the law must allow us to come to the party and push the narrative of the excitement. So that was the situation. Nothing else, nothing else. Our people, the story that our people have voted by being absent is too elitist and detached from reality. It's not true. It's an elitist commentary story of armchair critics who can't even organize a first-year birthday party, who have never organized anything in their lives. We are on the ground. Our people are angry. They want services now. But all of these factors we spoke about have led to where we are. It's going to be worse in 2024. It's going to be worse. Why? The man is going to the second term. Leave that thing of not getting the second term from the ANC. Those clowns who are fighting with him in the ANC, they are clownish. They will not win against him. So they can't even put a match. We ran conferences before of very difficult men like Mbeki plotting to remove them. We know how conferences are. We see them before. This guy is not going to be removed. Leave that thing. Leave that thing. They won't remove him. No one can stand against him. So the story that Ramaphosa is going to be removed is neither here nor there. It's a lie. But it's good for us because when he goes for the second term, he's no longer there's no longer Ramaphoria. The guy has been there for a term. Now he's asking for a second term. People are going to say, man, well, now we know you and we know your stories. So unlike when he came in and all of you pumped him, yo, the man, even when he declined the ANC votes in 2019, oh, the man who rescued the ANC, it could have been worse. It's worse now with the man at the helm. He believed you are praising and a lie, you told him. The same thing you are doing with Herman. Pumping him and making him believe that, yo, he's a national hero. And you are talking to a street hero, not a national hero. Their spokesperson, the way they are so innocent, shame. They win a award in Newcastle, it says, we just won our first municipality. Yo. So the way you are pumping Herman, but later in the evening yesterday, you were tired, all of you, of pumping him because the reality was that exactly what it is. So you are going to pump him. There is nothing he's going to do. It's the end of it. It's done. The man knows that he is original material. All he wants is to be a mayor. And then Makosi from KZN forces him to go and contest in KZN, in Tshwane and Newcastle. The man didn't want to go there. He wanted to go in Joburg and be a mayor. That's what he wants. So when you compare him to all of this, you are making his life difficult. Man, I don't want those ones. I just want to be a mayor of Joburg. That's what he wants. So we want the whole of South Africa. Don't say, I want to remove the ANC, and then you only contest in Joburg. Go to Guyana where they give the ANC 85%. They don't have water. They don't have electricity. They don't have roads. They don't have anything. They push a wheelbarrow on the day of the elections to go and fetch wood. And then when journalists interview them, they say, no, I quickly went to fetch wood. I'm dropping the wood. I'm rushing to vote. They vote ANC. They don't have anything except SASSA money. Nothing. 85% of them vote for the ANC. So if you want to remove the ANC, go there. Go where the ANC is. Don't go where the ANC is obviously declining. We are in the villages. We are fighting it where it matters the most, the whole country. So we thought we needed to clarify those issues, but otherwise, nice elections within a month, and here we are, back to work. Coalitions are not a work. It's a group of elite, predominantly males, looking after their egos. So it shouldn't be a difficult job to do. You just give someone something, they are sorted. They like it that way. If you don't talk about them, they collapse the negotiation. But if you say, Mzwandile Mbeje can be a mayor, or you are talking properly now, I can hear you. So they are not easy and difficult to handle coalitions. It's egos and individuals' personal interests and uncontrollable ambition for power. That's what constitutes the discussions of coalitions. We are not going to approach anyone. We have not been elected as a majority in any municipality, which is a clear indication of how people feel about us. So we shouldn't go around bothering anyone. But those who come to us, they will find our door open. Thank you.
Thank you, President. Now for your favorite part, questions and answers. We'll take 5 at a time. There's many of you here. President, is 5 okay? Questions. So please, your name and the media house you represent. And try to keep it to 1 question per journalist, please. Okay, let's start off. So your mics are all working. I think it's just this row in the front where the desk mics are not working, but we have 2 roaming mics. Where's Karabo in them? Okay, let's go. Is there anybody in this row? Let's start off. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to go row by row. And then the row behind. Okay, let's do those 4. 5. Okay. Number 1, let's go.
My name is Njanji Chauke from the SABC News Channel. I just want to check, when we speak to a lot of analysts, they believe that you ran a very great campaign. How do you explain your performance? You don't have a majority anywhere. How do you explain your performance? And obviously, the EFF is not a party of only young people. We know there's a lot of voter apathy among young people. What is your message to young people? I know the Gogos also vote for the EFF, but what would you like to say to young people? Because many people feel that had many young people come out instead of having bribes, the EFF will have performed much better. Thank you.
Number 2.
Francis Machate from Progressive Independent News Agency. My first question will be about the situation in Bushbuck Ridge. I think you have got a report on that since one of your party members there was part of those who lodged a complaint. What is the situation there, and what is the communication that you have with the IEC regarding that situation? And one thing that I've noticed, there is no results for that particular Ward 16 on the IEC results. So what is the communication there, and what is going to happen? Are we going to have results announced without that Ward result announced? Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Olim Gambi from Newsroom Africa. The question I'd like to pose to you has to do with your campaign going into this election, and that campaign was very clear. You wanted to win a municipality or municipalities to run them. You haven't won a single. As you introspect, is there a possibility that you're willing to accept, at least for now, that people do not want you to govern? They're happy with you sitting in opposition benches. Thanks.
Number 4, I think it was Sophie.
Thank you so much. My name is Sophie Mkwena from the SABC. I just want to look at this issue of a coalition or coalition government. When you look at the Scandinavian model, particularly in a Swedish coalition, and you also look at Belgium, but going even as far as the entire European Union, you also have Germany. For years, they have had this kind of arrangement. Are you perhaps looking at case studies in those countries so that this perhaps you can extend to South Africa, but indeed adapt to the situation in South Africa, or I can say on the continent, because the continent might have a different view on certain things? And then lastly, as a party that has modeled itself as a Pan-Africanist party that stands for issues that are related to Africa, what's your reaction to the current situation in Ethiopia, Tigray?
Sure. Mwande from the Sunday Times. first question is, I seem to sense a contradiction between what you are saying and what Floyd was saying yesterday about EFF being ready to be in government, especially in metros. I don't know whether I understood you correctly today. You seem to have backtracked from that, but maybe I'm wrong. Second part of the question is, if you get, for instance, 9% and then you go into a coalition with someone who's got 42, and then you get mayorship, you get maybe 5 MMCs, is that a process that is fair in your own analysis as the EFF to the voters who would have obviously rejected you if you get 9% and then you end up governing the same people that rejected you in that particular form? Lastly, do you have a sense at this stage of how much the EFF campaign cost? It looked quite fancy and expensive.
Okay, thank you, President.
Well, we just came out of the campaign, so we'll reconcile the figures and we'll come back to you. The campaign is not necessarily expensive. It all depends on how you go about it. So the little resources you have, how do you distribute them, and in which areas, and how strategic? Now, I've come to accept that the suburbs and places like Sandton, the malls, are occupied by high-end middle class. And those people are talkative and they know everything. So if you want people to talk about you, you go there. So you just take that place and put a lot of posters, and then they start. There are a lot of EFF posters everywhere. They've got data, they've got... Then everybody starts speaking about you because you have occupied a strategic place. But if I take posters to Mahonis, where this guy comes from, they are going to remove them, not because they don't like EFF, to go and close the holes of the shacks in their mikukus there, and their RDP houses that are leaking already. So, and I don't get to be on the charts of anyone. So you ought to choose wisely. And at a face value, you create an impression that yes, these people are everywhere. So that's what happened. There is a doctor we're using at Tshwane who produces our T-shirts, posters, and all that. He's amenable to give us credit of a particular amount and then produce for us. So we've managed to build a relationship with him. So you don't have to have the money, but you have to be trustworthy. So the ANC can no longer get a loan from the bank because it's overexposed. We can get a loan from the bank. Actually, the bank calls and say, do you need anything? Because we service our debts with the bank. Even with these elections, we took a credit with the bank. The ANC tried a facility, they refused because it's overexposed. So we are not overexposed, and we are very scared of credit. Now that we are done, we are going to be taking certain percentages of money from councillors who have won as part of, for the next 3 months, as part of servicing the debt we have taken with the bank and other people. Because if we can't pay ourselves, then Rupert is going to pay. And then he's going to tell us what we must say and what we must not say. You know, Julius, your message is very good. You need to just soften it up. And that's what they did to Mandela. And that's what they do to all black people. No, you can say it, but say it differently. They neutralize you and they kill you. So The EFF sustains itself through party levies. And party levies that all other parties are doing, by the way. You never ask them about it, you never question it. You only question it when it's said about the EFF. We're going to do it. You just become a councillor one morning. Unotsu was solely councillor. Wanotoma ugola. Una norchelete with your very poster jailer, each your guy. A woman, their plan. Labor badimu ba urata. You must contribute. So that's what we are going to do. Now, for the next 3 months, then we'll normalize it to a normal party levy. You, look, Chief, whether we are 9 or 49% or 1%, if there is no outright winner, there's no one here who can go around trying to claim anything to us here. The people have not chosen anyone. They said we must make arrangements amongst ourselves. It's like that. The SCO actually in universities survives like that, with one vote, one position after SRC elections, and it says, no, you give us president or else you can go. And then we end up having a president with one seat. That's what coalitions means. And then to go to our Sophie's question, we're always ready to study different types of options. In the EFF, case studying and studying generally is not a problem, because that's what makes us to be ahead all the time. That time, Koli, you think you have unleashed a very powerful question. Very powerful. You say, yeah. Don't you think the people don't want you to govern them? But it's too obvious. Agree, if they wanted us to govern them, they could have elected us. It's not a very powerful question. You are talking the things that happened. People said they don't want to be governed by the EFF. So what must I say? I must say, no, the people want us to govern them. No. It's obvious. They did not elect us. They are not ready to be led by the government of the EFF. But the EFF can lead them through a coalition. So when it is a coalition, it's not a government of the EFF. It's a coalition government. Unlike this racist of the DA suffering from white supremacy, even when they are in coalition with the other parties, they say where the DA governs better. Look at Tshwane. But they're not governing in Tshwane. It's a coalition. But their white skin can't allow them to speak very low of themselves. As long as they are there, they are the leaders. Therefore, they are going to say, that thing is a DA government. A coalition is not a coalition of the EFF. It is a coalition. It means different political parties coming together, and it must be respected. It must not be called any other thing except a coalition government. If we succeed in doing that, then we will govern. The issue of us governing, we are more than ready to govern. We're not backtracking anything. I'm saying what he said. Let them come, let's talk. If we're not ready to govern, we'll say no one is speaking to us. We don't want to talk to anyone. The first preferred model is that you take your municipality, we take our municipality. In that municipality, we supervise you through legislation. We don't go into the executive. We become speaker, chief whip, and committees, and we hold the executive accountable. And then where you give the EFF, you do the same. You don't come into the executive, you go into the legislature to hold the EFF government accountable, so that we don't compromise each other. We always keep each other on our toes. So that's the preferred type of a thing when it comes to the EFF. But when it goes to KZN, let's take, for instance, the IFP, where we can take it with the IFP alone, we are more than ready to work with the IFP and do work there in KZN. We have no problem. SG will deal with the Bushbuck-Rich one. I didn't know anything. You see, we need to get young people out. You are right. Especially the ones of between 18 and 24. those are the immediate graduates of adolescent. So they are still in a state of confusion. They are not interested. They don't even understand the purpose. So when you engage with them, you can hear that this is a dismissive generation which needs to be conscientized and then won over into the revolution. So the day we manage to take as many young people as possible out to go and vote, the ANC will be out of power, outrightly, not through this Ngamina Ngawena arrangement. If we work the ground, which we are doing, if you have not realized, we are permanently sitting in the universities, working and winning SRCs in those universities. Is part of winning the youth vote into the EFF, because that vote is very important and it will make a huge difference. What's happening in Ethiopia is really unacceptable. We hope that they cease fire and we find an immediate African solution to that problem. We're happy with the attitude of President Kenyatta, who speaks very forthrightly and openly about the happenings in Ethiopia. And we think that press statements from AU are not enough. There should be, some form of physical, immediate intervention. And we can begin to experience long-lasting peace in the continent, because people know that if you engage in shenanigans, the continent is likely to come on you. The issue of Guinea, for instance, we don't know what happened to the president, except that we just told they are condemned and all of that. But what has followed practically and physically to make sure that the coup that happened doesn't become legitimized and it gets seriously isolated. So we need a follow-up on that. We are going to announce very soon the dates will be occupying all the borders of Swaziland, because we have spoken about the issue of Swaziland for a very long time. We need to take action now. The continent, the region has supported us, and the people of Swaziland need us more than ever before. We have to go and block the borders of Swaziland and make sure that Mswati steps down. We have no problem with royalty in Swaziland, but let it assume the role of the Zulu royalty and any other royalty in South Africa. Let them continue as royalty without interfering in the political affairs and the economic affairs of Swaziland. And they too must queue on the line like any other person, because we are all equal in a democratic South Africa. So we are going to Swaziland, and the people of Swaziland must not be discouraged. The EFF must keep the fires burning. They must continue to fight. The students, the young people of Swaziland, no one has ever said it's going to be easy. It has always been very difficult. Even for us here in South Africa, it looks like it's easy. Ask Helen Zille what happened to NPE. It's a daily struggle that we live with, of being harassed by the establishment, but we never give up. So the youth of Swaziland continue to fight. We are coming to join you from the other side of the borders. We'll only allow medicine and food to go to Swaziland. Any other thing will not be allowed to pass to Swaziland. SG on Bushbuckridge?
No, thank you, President. The issue of Bushbuckridge was 16. You know that we found a sealed ballot box in a taxi with ballots that was going to the IEC. Fortunately, our party agents were there, but the matter was there was intervention from the provincial IEC, and the correct result slip that was captured from the voting station and the wards is the one that eventually was used, and the matter was resolved in that way. So the ballot box they left, but the result slip, the counting was already done in the voting station. So we had the result slip. So those are the results were declared. They just declared that word now. So the matter is resolved. Thank you.
Thank you, President. Thank you, SG. We're going to do one last round of questions. I think the President and officials have given quite a comprehensive response. So I have you at number 1 with the cream and blue shirt. Number 2 here in the front. Number 3 again over there. Number 4. And then number 5 there at the back. I haven't hit. Number 6. And then we can round up. So we got 6 questions. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, my name is Eric Naki from the Citizen newspaper. You said that when one of the parties come to you, they have to come with a clear agenda or clear program on land reform. Can you elaborate on that? Because I want to know what are the details around what you expect them to do. Thank you.
Mr. Malema, this is Khalpa Lulu. I work for Jacaranda FM News. I just want to find out from you, I mean, there's quite a lot of speculation about why we have a low voter turnout. I heard what you said about the president and inspiration and excitement. Don't you think, though, that all political parties must take some sort of responsibility for the fact that South Africans do not trust the democratic system and the electoral system itself? Don't you think that political parties should take some responsibility for the fact that South Africans are not excited to go to the polls? It surely cannot be the president alone if there are alternatives to that. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Norman Masungwini from City Press. If there's one thing that you learned from this election, what is it, and how do you hope to correct it moving forward to the national election in 2024? Thank you.
Thank you. The name is Bungalwa from Newsroom Africa. The first one is actually a rider to the question that was asked by Eric. Your choice of words, you said you're willing to work with anyone who supports land redistribution, and you do not use the words land expropriation without compensation. Does that then mean that support for land expropriation without compensation is not a prerequisite to the EFF entering into negotiations with any party? And in talking about parties, I want to mention 2 parties, the DA and the Freedom Front Plus. Now, those are 2 parties that have explicitly said that they are not willing to work with the EFF. I would like to understand your attitude towards them and coalitions with them. And then lastly, the EFF, obviously, as you've pointed out, is growing in certain areas, but it has declined in Limpopo, and also it has flatlined in Gauteng. I'm sure you must be concerned about that. What do you think you have done wrong in those areas, and what do you attribute this to? Thank you.
Afternoon, Mr. Malema. Paige Muller here with Times Live. I actually thought that your approach to coalitions was very respectable. I'm just wondering if you don't take a more, I'm back here, you can't really see me, but I'm here. If you don't take a more active approach to forming coalitions, will your voters not be a little bit disappointed if you're not available for them to actually start managing some of the municipalities, say you're not being approached? That being said, all of the reasons you gave, very admirable, and I understand them completely. I'm just wondering maybe if your voters wouldn't be a little bit disappointed that you weren't more active in the governance itself.
It's me again. Internally, Mr. Malema, what becomes consequence management in terms of, I remember you spoke about a threshold of branch leaders. I can't remember whether it was 500 or 1,000 that they must prove that these are the voters they are bringing to the fore. Those who didn't meet those thresholds, what happens to them now going forward? Also, don't you think that maybe the EFF is not catching fire as fast as others would like to see it catching fire because of it being built around your image? And what is the strategy of the EFF to profile leaders at a local level such that they are at a level of being seen to be leaders in their own right, not just you as Mr. Malema? And also the issue of EFF winning at campuses and then that not translating into, for instance, a municipality where all these campuses are located. What do you think is the disjuncture there? That you win at campuses, I mean, it's a clean sweep now, you control almost every campus, but in those municipalities, the numbers are not reflecting what is reflected at the university level. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to give you one more chance and then we're closing. Go, Xoli.
Thank you very much. Tshwane Ngambi again from Newsroom Africa. Riding on the question that was asked a little earlier about your campaign even receiving raving reviews from people who deal with PR matters, there's no doubt that your message clearly resonated. So again, going back to my initial question, is there something about the EFF that South Africans simply do not trust? And perhaps the reason why you are not being put in government? Thank you.
Thank you, President.
Thank you very much, Xoli. You see, the problem is that you are becoming impatient, and not necessarily you, all of you. You're becoming impatient. It's not done. It will actually be a stupid move for South Africans to just see a party and just vote for it immediately. It's not done. You are being impatient. We are building a political party which is going to be an alternative to the ANC ground up. The people of Guyana who vote for the ANC, 85%, they're not going to wake up the following day and just change their minds like that. No. The EFF will have to earn it. And the EFF is earning it. Because the EFF is doing well. If you want to invite us into politics of quickie arrangement, we don't want that. We want longevity. We want to build a party. We're not here to have popcorns. No, we're not here to have popcorns. So we're growing here a very solid revolutionary organization that finds its tractions even in the continent. So you can't just say in 8 years' time you must govern everything and take everything. No. We're doing so well. And you guys are impatient with us as if you are our members. Relax. Le re fella pelo man le a kitima. Na re sharp re grand. Maguda, pashasha. Re sharp, re grand. Because in one of the articulations, DP, they must go and read it. When we wrote documents in 2013, we said others are going to fall on the way. because it's going to take long. It's going to take long. Huh? SG, it's going to take a very long time. So that once it takes over, it stays forever. Everybody would have appreciated the sweat and the hard work they've invested in it, and therefore do not allow it to die. If we want to be naughty, we can go and to DA or ANC and say, guys, put Mashaba a mayor. We want you to put Mashaba a mayor, and then he will give you positions and will vote with you. Then he will know that those things he promised first, those 18 people that he's working with, it's not possible. Because every time he comes with one of those 18 to hire the municipality, say, not this one. We won't work here, not this one. Then that 18 is going to turn against him. Then those people that he promised this and that, they are going to turn against him. Then we talk again in 2024. Because the desire is to make popcorns. Yeah, chaya. So we're not in business of making popcorns. We are in it to run a revolution for a very long time. So, Oscar Jahan, please, Oscar Jahan. We're growing up together with you, Xoli. If you look at where we were and where we are, you will appreciate that these people are going very far. Getting expelled, being told they're going to be dumped in the dustbin of history, that they are nothing, and then we form a party, but no, it won't get anything, it gets 6%. They say that is the end of it. It will end with that 6%. We go to 10% national. Then after that, they say go to conference. You're going to kill each other at the conference. We go to conference, the first one, the second one. You have nothing to say. Now you are like, hey, you are not growing, man. At a pace that you will want it. You say me. I never discussed the pace with you. Don't bring your imagination to me. Leave me alone. I know how long it will take. Look at 2024. The real stuff is going to happen in 2024. And when the real stuff happens on the ruling party in 2024, the political alignment changing in the country completely, and with it, not excluding the EFF. You know, guys, by the way, all the campuses we have won them, even now. They are a VD. They are not a what. So, get it right. Yeah, so don't confuse a VD with a what. They are a VD and we are cruising properly. We are fine there. Okay, your image. My bra, I form a party, and then you come to tell me about my image of a party I formed. Everything else that they did, they saw, they knew where they were going. They knew the founder of this party is this guy. Why would it be a problem? That's number one. Number two, you say it's built on my image. Ne? It's a lie, because politics are like that. The ANC is now on the image of President Ramaphosa. It was on Mbegi's image. All political parties are like that. The president becomes the face of the party. You see the problem with the EFF, you don't see a problem with other political parties. If I leave and this guy becomes the president, he becomes the face of the EFF. The president is the face of the EFF. So, and then you say, no, why are you not building some ground people so that the ANC doesn't have those people? The reason you think they've got them is because they are mayors. The DA doesn't have such people. You started knowing Soli Musimang as a mayor. Letawala who dance ala Pretoria at Ridgeville. Ritomilo Litsiba or mayor, Regaba mayor, Asilose. The day they put him a mayor, but we never knew there was this powerful Soli of DA in Tshwane. He has never been the face of Tshwane. There are no such politics. It's not true. You just want to attack the EFF. Politics are based on the party leader. Freedom Front, Groenewald. DA, Steenhuisen. IFP, Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, even when it has got a president. There will be consequence management. Remember we dissolved, was it Eastern Cape DP? For performing bad. There will be consequence management here in Gauteng. But look, the story is that when we go to local government elections, we decline in Gauteng. In 2014, we did well. When we went 2016, we didn't get our numbers. We went down in 2016 from 2015. From 450 to 400. So the local government ordinarily it always plays its own tricky. So we must not be too hard. But where there was just an outright stupidity, it must be dealt with and dealt with decisively. And we're going to do exactly that here in Gauteng. I don't think that there was I think the comrades in Limpopo fought. They put out everything. They fought. It is what it is, Mara. They fought. But there was a clownishness that we will deal with in the next few weeks here in Gauteng. And we'll deal with it very, very decisively. But the reality is that when we go national elections, the numbers go high. And then when you go to local government elections, they decline slightly. But we still increase. So there are pockets where you find some declining. There are certain areas where you even lose the wards that belonged to you as the EFF, but you gain new wards on the other side. We are new in this thing of electioneering as a party, so we learn as we go. Our voters won't be disappointed. They know the results and they know their party has not been elected. Actually, if their party gets to be given something somewhere, it's a bonus because they didn't get anything. So you can't, by all means, want to govern through a back door disparately so. So if you get disappointed, it will be an act of desperation because you know your party didn't gain anything. So whatever it gets given, it's a bonus. DA and Freedom Front is just a racist stance. The Freedom Front says it can't do a coalition with EFF and the ANC. Zbu. And then you don't ask them, are you not doing a coalition with parties that are led by black people? Because that's what they told you. They said, no black party will go into coalition with them. You said, the EFF, no. ANC, no. Then you said PA. They said no. But then they tried to be ideological. There was some radical policy about, they don't remember the policy. There is no policy, they remember the scheme. Or Patriotic Alliance is also led by black people. So it's a racist posture that they've taken. It's a racist posture. We're not going to work with black parties, but we'll work with white parties, which is going to force us, by the way, to get into some concoction in Tshwane, because if we don't block that racist agenda that is going to happen in Tshwane, we might have a racist municipality being presided over in Tshwane. So the DA and Freedom Front are racist organizations. We ran a very beautiful campaign, but we believe we can still do more. And it's not only EFF exclusively, we started very late. But this is what I learned, guys, from the ground as I interact. The EFF goes to people during elections only. There is no constant, permanent interaction with people. So when you enter people's houses, bar kelena bo mang, again, bar war kerna ba EFF bar area le tseba mara le bo mang. So meaning, why are you only coming now? What was worse? It was that pandemic year, the lockdown year, where we had no activity at all. And we are a small party. We have to increase ourselves through visibility. But there was no visibility allowed because of lockdown for the whole year. And some white racist of that DA research unit, that guy, the mother was teaching at Vets, he passed away. Onselen. Van Onselen. Van Onselen even wrote an article and said, the EFF is dead. Corona killed the EFF. You see? So that year was very difficult, not only for EFF, but for political parties. And we had lined up a very nice program, very radical program, which was going to put us in permanent interaction with our people. So what did we learn? We must live amongst our people on daily basis and help them. With the intervention of the DP in the Eastern Cape and Free State, look at the results. I mean, we used to get a very serious hiding in the Eastern Cape and Free State. And we used to complain bitterly about Free State because it's one province where we should be cruising nicely. And it was not coming. But we are happy with the developments that are taking place there now. And we've hung 4 municipalities. And look at Mangaung, even if they can celebrate it, they know that they are being challenged seriously in Mangaung. That type of a challenge was not there in Free State because there was some clownishness that was taking place. So serious work has gone in now. Why should we take political responsibility for what? We don't create lockdowns. We don't lock people in their houses. We don't say to people, you must be this number in a gathering and refuse people to gather politically to be agitated and mobilized. When we are the ones who have been advising, uplift the lockdowns, they are no longer making sense. We are no longer going to comply with those lockdowns ourselves as the EFF. Then we must come here and take responsibility for dampened mood. No, we're not. We're not taking any responsibility. We're not ANC that takes collective responsibility. So please don't make us ANC members who take collective responsibility on things they know nothing about. So we're not part of that. We're not taking any responsibility. If anything, you must credit us that we are the only ones who tried to make it exciting. We ran a beautiful campaign. We ran an exciting campaign. We ran a clean campaign. What was this campaign about? We were trying to get people to get into the mood of the elections. We wanted the mood to be a mood of elections under very difficult lockdowns. I even made a call to the man himself and said, these things of 500 are difficult because yourself are going to be accused of flouting your own regulations. You need to increase the numbers of gatherings. We're going to elections. So I can't take responsibility for what? We are the ones who are making this. Imagine DP, if there was no EFF, it would have been worse. You must give it to us, or we made people to know the elections coming. It's the EFF that told people elections are coming, wake up. So elections and politics are some pepper. We man, we mambe. It's very difficult. This politics are difficult. You just talk analyst vonyo on TV. Let's give you one word. Leave those things of municipality. One word. That's why people win a word and get excited. They've won a municipality. We ma. Asu rekisha di peme mo rekisha black like me ya di peme. We man twe. Motu chere chelete ka mukaya black like me ya di peme ucho itsenya ka mola ucho it ha wina le masipala. Chere chelta bana. Yo and akasi recover chelete la ka ra yo ba meyara. We chiakai. We sponsor a one man. Aramu gossip who declared the donations are black like me. It's a chelet. Waki sponsor yena ka chelet ya business ya. Hey man, tabe ta politiki uta drama thar. Wa ralogela politiki. Na re tswaletswe ka moarantwe. We were born for this. Utlobona, we are still very young at 40. How old are you, DP? At 38. We're shaking them proper. Shaking well-resourced ministers, mayors, deputy ministers, councillors, all with resources. And former President Mbeki, Kiaba Shalane Murao like Casey and Jojo, Mbeki, Halima, Zuma, Ramaphosa, whippy. But better combined, below 50%. Tao para EFF wena tao humble no regret di color re phone elwa re palla le ko ya le ka toilet di phone di alla re tswa pleketi monna nko bue le rona hey monna wait man, we are still processing things hey na ke tswa mo ke tima phone no ya ke a holiday ke khathetse bana beso ke sebeditse bana a re ke khuje ba re founela batho ba ANC ba tshwere power ba khanya hampe. You can't touch them. They don't even answer anyone's call. Now they are calling us. They are available, ANC people. There in Ekurhuleni, our last rally was going to Tshwane. Bari, research came out. They said ANC is winning 51% in Ekurhuleni. We made a U-turn from Tshwane and we went to Ekurhuleni. What? But we na guy, but guy Ekurhuleni never. Let's change. Raya Ekurhuleni, whippy, below 50%. Aniala batsibur bad sabereka or ababereki na. Para EFF varidality. We kwa katleo ngoyo level states or seringa Ekurhuleni. Sakatleo where the rally was held. So, rebajishi chema shimo abasato bereka. Ani yolo la DA ka ba vet I ba vet are detained. So please, we are very clear with what we are doing. We are eating fighters and ground forces. Don't be discouraged by media hyping non-existing parties. We are eating the elephant piece by piece. And it looks like it's collapsing very fast. There is nothing magical, I can tell you now. There's nothing magical that is going to happen between now and 2024, which will change the patterns in South Africa and make the ANC gain elections. One, they are going to a national conference, which is going to be highly contested, disruptive, and they can even fight physical in that conference. They are not coming back. Mara, Au safara from Aule myopic, Obonelam. I've got a giraffe view. If you don't know, I've got a giraffe view. I can see things as they are coming. I tell you now, I'm not a sangom. This is where it's going. So, if we were selling out and we liked positions and we liked things, we could have exchanged mayorships by now. They were here on the floor. They said to our comrades, guys, anything you want, anything. Just tell us what you want, we do it. So that we can take over these things again. We said, hey, wait. We don't want anything. We're fine. We'll talk. Let the dust settle. We're fine. Why? Because of the giraffe view. We can see where this thing is going. Zuma, when he lost the metros, he became illegitimate and could not sell Nkosazana as an alternative president because he costed the metros. Our man is going to suffer the same thing, that this guy has not helped us to win metros. Coming back to our issue of the image, they are blaming it on the image because the image of the ANC is the president and they think he's the one who must win them elections. So we're fine. We're doing very well. We're very happy. We increased our councillors, by the way, because it's not just about percentages. It's also about public representatives. So we got more public representatives. You call such people losers who getting more and more. Not a single elections have we lost a single public representatives. We keep on getting and getting. When the howlers are howling, God keeps on blessing us. Take. We're proper. We're fine. Cruising nicely. Growing steadily. Because we're building an organization ground up. So we're fine. We'll hear what's going to happen after this when the DP and them had concluded the discussions on coalitions, which are not a very serious issue to us. It's a by the way, because it's issue of egos and employment. Leave women. Women are not even crazily involved in that. Give Anna a better ego. By me sorry, dear plan. That's what I plan. The party lady vote. Thank you.
I think we're done. President, I don't think you
Ethekwini
answered
we
that
got
que-
from 8 from 8 seats to 24.
And the question on the campuses winning from Sunday Times.
No, we
Oh,
dealt
you
with it.
responded.
We said in campuses, we won campuses where we won SRC. Yes. And then there was a citizen one on land. Guys, expropriation of land without compensation is non-negotiable. Ourselves and the ANC actually agree on that. But the problem is that the ANC of Ramaphosa goes in parliament and then somersault. We should have amended the constitution by now if Cyril had not sold out. So Cyril is going to have to vote with us on the expropriation of land without compensation in parliament before we can talk about metros. That's number one. We want our land back. And we said the conditions are such that we vote together in parliament to expropriate the land without compensation and make the state the custodian of the land. So whether you say land reform, Koli says, why is not saying land expropriation and saying land reform? We are using your words. But in our documents, it's land expropriation without compensation. It's number one non-negotiable cardinal pillar of the EFF. Even this campaign was about the land. And therefore, anything else we do is the land. The DA hates us for the land. They don't like us for the land. Freedom Front hates us for the land because they want white minorities to keep on holding on the land. And we're saying no, we're not agreeing. But we're using every means and everything available to us to make sure that our land is expropriated without compensation within the constitutional means. So that's historic. Historic is not a man who gets 16% in a local municipality where he made history. What history? History is amending the constitution. We are amending the constitution using this election outcome to try and amend the constitution. That's historic. That's politics, by the way. Di wima starek, taoga kantše. Thank you.
Thank you for coming, members of the media. Thank you for working well with us during elections. Thank you, President and officials.
Thank
We
you
are
very much.
closed.